Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Makisa. I am a licensed mental health counselor and a certified marriage and family therapist. On this channel, you will receive weekly tips on mental health, relationships, as well as self-development. Let's begin. Let me ask you a question. How's your mental health? When I ask people about the state of their mental health, the first thing that they say is, I'm not crazy and I ain't mental. But it has so much more to do than that. We are all impacted by mental health. Mental health has to do with our psychological, emotional, as well as social well-being. It encompasses what we think, how we feel, as well as our behavior. We can have optimal mental health, or our mental health can be compromised. It is essential that we learn to prioritize our mental health and we nurture it. When an individual's mental health is intact, they are able to carry out their normal day-to-day routines and their normal roles and responsibilities. When stress arises, they are able to manage their stress effectively. They are able to problem solve using good insight and judgment. They are also able to utilize positive coping skills. When we stuff our emotions or have unresolved issues from the past, it can be to our detriment and it can significantly impact our mental health. There may be traumatic events which one may experience. It could have been as a child or as an adult that has now resurfaced. So you may have been putting it in the back of your mind and it has not been an issue thus far. And you're trudging along through life and all of a sudden that trauma resurfaces. And now it's negatively impacting how you function, your ability to be productive at work, your ability to exist in your families and get along with your family members. So now it's an issue. Now you're having difficulties functioning, you're having symptoms. And so yes, trauma can negatively impact a person's mental health. Another area that can significantly impact a person's mental health is our health status. When someone has a significant change in their health, or there's a new onset of a chronic medical illness, your quality of life can be impacted. The things that you used to do, you may not be able to do anymore, or you may not be able to do it to the degree that you used to do it. And so your quality of life has been significantly diminished. And yes, that can have a huge impact on a person's mental health. And sometimes that's where we see a huge mental decline. When we are in distress, our mental health can be compromised. Symptoms that a person may be experiencing when their mental health is compromised can include anxiety, depression. You may see changes in your sleep or appetite. You may have increased sleep where you're sleeping too much because you don't want to deal with whatever the problem is. Or you may not be sleeping enough, so not being able to sleep at all or having insomnia. You may have increased appetite where you're overeating because you're trying to deal with whatever emotional distress is going on, or you may not be eating at all. So what we see is one of the other extreme. There may be irritability, difficulty in your work environment, difficulties in your interpersonal relationships. There may be isolation. There may be also anhedonia, so the interest that you used to have in activities that was once enjoyable to you, you don't enjoy them anymore. You don't really participate in those activities anymore. You may also be unmotivated. So you may not have that gumption, that get up and go to get things done, to accomplish things, to reach or work on your goals. So all of those symptoms are key signs that there may be some mental distress going on, that mentally you may not be in a good place and it needs to be addressed. So your symptoms that you have depends on the level of severity of whatever the problem or the issue is. And so your symptoms may be mild, they may be moderate, or they may be severe. At any point in time, things can happen in our external environments that can impact our mental health. What I like to think of the most, what comes to mind, is COVID-19. COVID-19 was a world pandemic that impacted all of us at the same time. People were grappling with this huge change and trying to figure out, how do I pick up the pieces? People lost their homes, their jobs, their quality of life, their social engagement. They lost loved ones, family and friends. And some people lost multiple family and friends. For a lot of people, we had to find a new normal. Even though COVID has passed, I think people are still figuring out how to pick up the pieces and how to move forward. It is so essential that we assess our mental health on a regular basis. I like to call it a check-in. You check in with yourself and you ask yourself, how am I doing? Am I doing okay? And if the answer to that question is no, really not being afraid to seek help or ask for help. It's also important to check on our friends and loved ones, especially those strong friends and loved ones, the ones you know that they don't ask for help. They may not recognize that something is going on or they're not in a good place. Oftentimes it may take another person's observing us who knows us well that can tell when mentally we're not in a good place. Mentally we're in distress, so our mental health is compromised. So it may take someone else in and around you to bring it to your attention. And if that's the case, it's important to acknowledge it and just be open to it. It takes a strong person to say, you know what, I'm not doing so well and I need some help. I need to do something about it. When we don't attend to our mental health and our symptoms, they start off as mild and we do nothing about it, and whatever the problem is or the stressor is, it continues, it escalates, our mental health will continue to decline. And so I like to say it's best to be proactive instead of reactive. When the symptoms are mild, go ahead and seek help. Acknowledge those symptoms. Acknowledge that there's difficulty there and get the help early on versus not getting the help and then the symptoms, they escalate till you get to the point where now you're really not in a good place and you're really having significant difficulty functioning in those different aspects and areas in your life. When we don't get the help that we need and we continue to be in mental decline, those symptoms can quickly spiral out of control. We can become someone that we don't even recognize when it gets to that severe point. So I encourage you, if you're doing well mentally, that's awesome. Continue doing what you're doing and continue to check in with yourself. If you're not in a good place, I encourage you to get help. Let's begin to have the conversation about our mental health and normalize talking about mental health and making it easy and okay for people to ask for help, making it a safe place for people to ask for help and get the help that they need. Help can come in many different forms. If your symptoms are mild, it could be just talking to someone, a trusted confidant about what's going on, that can help you seek some resolution. If symptoms are more mild to moderate, help may come in the form of coaching or counseling. There's even medication management. When symptoms are so severe, for example, if a person is having thoughts of hurting themselves or someone else, or they're experiencing psychosis, a higher level of care may be needed in the form of inpatient psychiatric treatment. And that's just to stabilize the individual and keep them safe. So again, I encourage you to check on your mental health on a regular basis. That's all I have for today. Thank you for joining me. Please like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be kind to yourself. Thanks for watching.